This is the February 1st, 2022 meeting of the Finance Committee of the Tri-Community Land Bank Corporation. I'm going to put this on hold until we have members join the meeting. So before I forget, I'm starting our recording. So as I was saying to Albert, I'm not sure that I heard whether John Cubitt could make the meeting or not. But two of you guys make a quorum. I don't know if you want to start or if you want to wait a few minutes to see if John can make it.
We can get started.
Okay, I'm going to just. I'm going to look real quick to see if I received a reply from him. Yeah, I don't see one. Okay.
Do roll call.
Yeah, do you want me to facilitate it or do you want to do it?
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's see, calling the meeting to order at 8:34. And roll call, Albert Watson, chair.
Here.
John Carmelo.
Here.
John Cubitt absent, and Tony Tazzi attending as committee staff. 2 of 3 members means we have a quorum, so we can have a meeting. So on the agenda, I was going to walk you guys through the recently updated property inventory report. Let me just find it.
Sounds good.
Okay. No, it's not it. Where did I put you? There it is. Okay. So not a whole lot changed. I won't go through every single thing because a lot of it is repetitive, but 791 River Street, we have gotten into an issue. The masonry that we ordered, that we counted 4 times, we have over a pallet of masonry that we don't need, and there's no reason why we should have an extra pallet. And then there's the more specialized units, which are polished on more than one side. And we're short about a pallet of that. Tomorrow or maybe this afternoon, I'm going to go out and count to see what's actually left and count to see what's missing, and then contact the masonry supplier to try to figure out what end of the order things got goofed up on. When they delivered it, they were supposed to deliver it on a Tuesday. They delivered it on a Monday unannounced, so no one was there to even sign to accept the delivery. So it's yet another issue. SEAT has run into cash flow problems, as we always are running into cash flow problems. So they have actually asked if we wouldn't mind if they put off purchasing anything expensive until we're able to pay them some money and until their cash flow problems straightens out. So I thought under the circumstances that was pretty fair. So they have someone in there who is painting the interior. The next piece of the work that George Bauer was going to be taking on was finishing the bathrooms. So bathroom floors is probably the main piece to that, and finishing up the cabinets. So that's being put off. And then purchasing the hardwood flooring, that's being put off. So so that's where we're at with 791. Never ending problem.
When was that masonry delivered, Tom?
I'm sorry, John, you're a little hard to hear there.
How long ago was the masonry?
That I believe that was delivered. I'm gonna say September. I can look up the exact date. but I know we had it delivered in time so that if the contractor had jumped on it on time, he could have had everything completed before the cold weather set in.
Yeah,
So,
okay, thank you.
11 Winnie Avenue, that's still being marketed for sale. Our asking price is $159,777. The last I spoke with our broker, Sherry Cavallaro, she told me that she did have someone who seemed very interested, and also interested to be an owner occupant. I haven't spoken to her in a few days, so I'm not sure if that status is the same, but that's the last report. 3240 6th Avenue was the building that was demolished by order of city engineer along with 3 others. So there's not a lot going on with that. 54 5th Avenue is our other building that's being marketed for sale at $174,777. Sherry actually did get a full amount offer from someone who said that they were not sure whether they wanted to live there or not. And I said to Sherry, well, that usually means they don't. So as it turns out, that person owns a 2-family that they live in on Hudson Avenue in Albany. So Sherry asked me, we're marketing these as owner occupancy preferred. How strong is the preference? And I didn't assemble a meeting of A&D, but I did say, well, I think if I did ask A&D, they would probably say, if we received a full amount offer from someone this quick, and doesn't sound like they want to live there, my guess is A&D is probably going to want to wait longer to see if we can still get an owner occupant. And at the last meeting, that seemed to be where A&D wanted to go. So it's
How long has it been on the market?
I want to say about a month. So it hasn't been all that long.
Okay, sounds good.
3229 6th Avenue, that is the building that Johnny Bobo stabilized. All that work is complete. We've got the final paperwork from the city. It's kind of actually interesting. They issued a certificate of, oh no, I'm sorry. 54 5th Avenue, the city issued a certificate of occupancy. And on 11 Windy, they wouldn't issue a CO. They issued a certificate of completion instead. So I don't understand why the difference. But anyway, for all 3 properties, we have paperwork from the city saying the work is complete. Let's see. 7 Park Avenue. That's the one that's been kind of bouncing around back and forth as to whether we were going to demolish it or not. So it sounds pretty solid, like we're going to hold on to it, to demo it with ARPA funds from the city, and likely sell it, and the double lot next door, which would be 9 and 11 Park Avenue, for redevelopment by Habitat, for 1 or 2 single families. Let's see. 3154 6th Avenue is a very skinny lot that the board approved a purchase application from a young couple down New York City way. They're going through the process of getting approvals from the city. Haven't heard from them in a while though, so don't know where that really stands. 836 River Street and 785 River Street. Those are the 2 properties we sold to a gentleman from Spring Valley, New York, and he didn't do anything with them. Kate foreclosed on the property. The court approved the foreclosure. He has not been signing any paperwork or anything else that the court demands. So she just petitioned the court to hold him in contempt, and that paperwork was submitted to the court last week. So yeah, I imagine that's finally going to get finalized. Kate also, I'm not sure exactly how this would be worded legally, but she has asked the court to take additional action to more or less make it very clear that the land bank owns the property and not the person we sold it to. Kate had told me before that we do own the property based on previous court action, but I think she's asking for absolute clarification. So 785 River, in the ARPA budget I submitted to the city, I did ask for funds to demolish the building, which is kind of a shame because we spent stabilization money on it. But the interior structure of that building is so tenuous that I just don't know how we can, first of all, we don't have the money to stabilize it much further. And it's a very dangerous building to be in. So that's what I've got it programmed at right now.
How much did you spend to stabilize it?
I'd have to look that up. That's before my time.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a back corner, the masonry had to be repaired. I could look that up for you and let you know, but yeah, we'll take a hit on that. 140 President Street is just a vacant lot. That's probably going to be with us forever because the person who lost it is the next door neighbor who we can't sell it to because if someone's lost property through the city tax foreclosure process, they're prohibited from getting it back. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, and the other, so it's the guy that lost it is the corner property. Our property is the next lot south, and then the next property owner south of that has no interest to purchase it. Every once in a while, someone will call me and, you know, say they have an interest to put a house there, or I think the last time it was to put a shed or a garage there, but it never seems to move forward. Let's see. Trying to get to. So for pending acquisitions, there are 4 properties that we do have the funds from Enterprise. They were wired to us about 2 weeks ago to purchase 4 properties from Vesta. And those 4 properties are 3 buildings and 1 vacant lot. The vacant lot is 814 River. The 3 buildings are 809 River, 834 River, and 3215 6th Avenue. 834 River is the other half of 836 River, which is the property that we foreclosed on. So those, and they're 2 separate tax parcels. So those 2 properties will be part of the Legacy City application, as will 3215 6th Avenue. 809 River Street, unfortunately, has tenants in it, and we're not allowed to submit a building or include a building as part of the LCAP application if it's inhabited. So we are going to acquire it, and we're going to be looking for someone to purchase it from us to renovate. Or I suppose we can renovate it ourselves, but we haven't had a whole lot of great success doing that.
Which one was that, Tony?
What's that?
Which one was occupied?
809 River Street. It's a really pretty 3-story building. Vesta converted it to 5 units. I think it's 1 vacant lot away from where Suzanne lives. So it's probably 2 or 3 parcels north of Jack Cox's what the car thing, whatever that is. So we're going to be landlords because we'll be acquiring the property and we have folks living there, and that'll be new for us. The status of acquiring all 4 of those properties is Kate has ordered title. Title reports have not come back yet. Presuming that they come back clean, then Kate will schedule the closing, and then we'll have those 4 properties. We were hoping to acquire 820 River Street from Vesta. But we decided we really couldn't. And the reason is Vesta converted it to a rooming house. And it's, so the Legacy City program the building has to be a 1, 2, or 3 dwelling vacant building. And because A20 is neither of those or any of those, it doesn't fit into the program. I looked at it to see if, maybe we can subdivide. It's got 2 sections to it. I thought maybe we could subdivide it and make one side a 2-unit and the other side a 3-unit, which would fit the program. But it's just too unclear to really know if that's even possible. So the other piece to this is enterprise community funding was not included for that property. So we would have had to acquire it using ARPA funds. And if we used ARPA funds to acquire it at $140,000, it would have really squeezed the budget. So unfortunately, that's a property that I don't think we can take on. The good news is Vesta sounds like they have some folks who are interested in it. One of my worries was because it's an odd building, it could sit there for years and just kind of rot away. So I saw an email from Kate this morning saying Vesta needs to know if we're buying or not because they have other folks who are interested. That's a good thing. It shouldn't sit there and rot. So then there's a handful of properties we're requiring from the city. I signed all the paperwork on those last week, and hand delivered them to Kate. So she's going to run title on those, and assuming they come back clean, she'll file those with the county clerk, and then we'll have those. And so those are 3340 6th Avenue, which is a two-family frame building. We are going to include this in the Legacy City program. This one is also occupied. However, it shouldn't be because the building leaks like a sieve. And Teresa Dutton, who you probably know, is helping me do the Legacy City application. Actually, she's not helping me. She's doing most of it. She talked to Homes and Community Renewal and explained the situation. And HCR said, if the building is really not fit for habitation, then it would qualify. So that was good news. 17 Park Avenue was a two-story, two-dwelling frame building that will include in the Legacy City program. 32 Glen Avenue is another two-story frame building that I was hoping we could include in LCAP. The developer that we have interested to, take on the bundle and move forward with it is not interested in Glen Avenue. So right now, my best guess is we would probably make some repairs to that and then put it on the market for sale for someone to carry through to renovate. 36 Dow Street is a really pretty tall 3-story building that has no roof. When I first saw it, I didn't realize what the extent of the damage was. I told the city that I was interested in it, but I needed to see the inside. And the city council approved 36 Dow along with all the others. And when I did see it, I said, guys, this is it's going to be too expensive for us to take on. I've had a couple contractors look at it, and no one seems brave enough to take it on. So I told Steve Streichman last week that, although I'd love to see us do something with it, it just doesn't seem like it's feasible to do. So the city will keep that, and they'll probably demolish it. 871 River Street is the corner bar at the corner of West Glen and River, near the new bus station. And that is the remaining parcel needed to assemble 4 parcels from West Glen up to where that parking lot is, that adjoins the 2 buildings we demolished a few years ago. And that's the site that Troy Housing is interested to redevelop as part of their Fallon Apartments de-densification project. So we'll be acquiring that. And I think probably what we'll do is just board it up and hold on to it and sell it to Troy Housing when they have their low-income housing tax credit application approved, whenever that is. And then they'll take it on, and they'll end up demolishing it and redeveloping the site. At least that's my thinking right now. And I believe that's, well, actually, 899 River Street. It's a 2-family we sold earlier this year. The person who purchased it has asked for an extension of time. So Kate is working on a modification to the note mortgage. That's something we talked about at a board meeting 2 or 3 months ago. And also 3325 6th Avenue is the blue building next to the media sanctuary that we sold. I just heard from the owner of that property yesterday, and he's also asking for a modification to the note mortgage for additional time to complete the project. So he has been doing work on it, so it's not like he's just walked away from it. So I would recommend that the extension be granted, but you know, that's going to be up to A&D and of course the board. And I think that's everything. At least everything worth noting. So any questions on any of that?
No, pretty thorough. Thank you for that.
Nope, no.
Okay. All right. So next thing on the agenda is the ARPA. So 2 Mondays ago, let me take this back a few steps. We started talking to the city about this way back in the summer. And it's really good stuff, but it's getting a little frustrating because the timing is taking forever. Initially, the city said that the city council would approve all the ARPA budgets and funds would flow in mid to late November. Then it was mid to late December. And the city comptroller, who's been great to work with, has had his head in 450 pages of regulations that he's trying to understand. And at the same time, he and City Corporation Council are putting together the subrecipient agreements. So they need those subrecipient agreements to absolutely conform to the ARPA regulations. So they're getting close to that, but they're not quite there. 2 Mondays ago, I submitted what I hope is a final budget. Andy, the city comptroller, needs to take a look at that. He said that he would give me a call last week to go over it. He hasn't, but I'm not throwing him under the bus. He's really very busy. He shot me an email today to say that they're still working on the subrecipient agreement, but that he will be getting back to me as soon as he can. So I think he'll probably be calling me in a day or two. What the big change to that when I submitted it was the city is allowing us to include a budget line that would allow us to be reimbursed for direct project costs going back to April of 2020. And I want to say that budget line is like $180,000. It could be a little off on that. So once the budget's approved, I actually have everything just about ready to go for submittal for disbursement from the city. So that will obviously help us with the cash flow, trying to find the budget. Yeah, let's see. Sorry, I've got a gazillion files open. It is. No, that's not. That's an old budget. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so it's actually $117,000 that will see a pretty immediate reimbursement of. So that's the budget line, but there's also other budget lines that we'll be able to get some disbursements from. So it will still be north of $117,000. This should also help us out because even though the ARPA funds won't provide us with operating expenses, we can use the funds to help pay for non-operating expenses, which will free up money for us to handle operating expenses. So it'll help in that way. So
Like what would be considered a non-operating expense?
property maintenance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, so we've got a budget line for property maintenance in here. So instead of having to take that out of reserves, we'll be able to use ARPA funds, and that will help us make the reserves stretch more for operating expenses. And I've also got a bunch of line items in here to do a variety of improvements. I'd like to put securities, well, I budgeted to put security systems in all the vacant buildings we have. And instead of just boarding up with plywood, I want to board up the first floor with plexiglass so folks can see into the building. And along with the security system, have LED battery operated motion detector activated lighting. So if somebody does get into the building, the lights will come on and people will at least be able to see them through the plexiglass. There's money here to also fortify the gangway gates because folks have been kind of getting into buildings by going through the gates. There's no way to stop people. What I found Syracuse is doing is in all their cellar windows, they're replacing all the windows with glass block, which I think is a really good idea. That's not in here specifically as a budget line item, but I think I can talk to Andy about using the funding to be able to do that as part of the overall, improvement to security of vacant buildings. So we've got some money in here for property cleanouts. And there's a lot of money in here to help support the Legacy City application. So all told, it's $1 million. So any questions on that? Okay, I'll jump into the Legacy City Access Program itself. So we have kind of selected, I'm not sure if it was A&D committee or the executive committee, but we released an RFQ about 2 months ago. And one of those two committees selected Shades Contracting, which is owned by David Downer. He is a minority contractor who actually lives in North Central and has a good reputation. So right now he looks like he's going to be the developer that'll take on 9 buildings. Teresa Newton has been in communication on a regular basis with Homes and Community Renewal. HCR is really anxious for us to submit an application. So once the ARPA budget is approved, then we'll have the funds we need to start really completing the application to get it over to HCR. We're hoping that we'll get a decision from the state like May or June. So far, there have been 3 awards. Albany has been awarded 1 bundle, Syracuse has been awarded 1 bundle, and I believe Newburgh has been awarded 1 bundle. I actually think our application looks better than those 3 because our sites are more centralized, more concentrated. Syracuse's sites are all over the place. Newburgh's are all over the place. Albany's were clustered more closely than the other 2, but I think ours are clustered even more. And North Central, as a census tract, is more distressed than any of the others in the other land banks. So I hate to say that's good news, but that's the status of it. So that's where we're at with Legacy City. Do you guys have questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, Albert, I think I'll flip it over to you to read the financials that are in a language that I can't understand.
So I don't know if this is a surprise to anybody, but Tony and I were going over we got a draft of the operating statement from the bookkeeper. So we reported a net loss of about 123,000 on total revenue of about 257,000. Primarily, most of the revenue came from the Attorney General grant. We sold 3 properties: 790 River, 103 Ferry Street, and 899 River Street. So total sales amount was about 81,000. And we got debt forgiveness for the PPP loans that we have, which was about 35,000. So the net loss was primarily supported by the loans that we took out with Ameristar and the Community Loan Fund, which was about looks like about
220.
200, yeah, about 215,000, something like that. So primary expenses were administrative costs, accounting, lawyers' fees. It's pretty much the big insurance, commercial insurance for the properties too. About 40, it was about 39,000. So lastly, we have some outstanding bills. We got some payables. We got about 44,000 as of the end of December. We got about 44,000 in outstanding payables, primarily due to Trip.
Yeah, we owe Trip a lot of money for property maintenance.
Russ Reeves, an engineer.
Yeah.
And C. Those are probably those are the big ones. And they're all over 90 days. So well, that's about it.
That's due to our cash flow, I assume.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Doing better than we did last year. Though last year we had a net loss of about 218,000. So not looking as bad as we did last year in 2020.
It's not feeling good.
So,
I'm starting to get a little worried because in March we get hit with all the insurance expenses, and if if money doesn't really start to flow our way, then it's going to really put us in a bind. We have to have the insurance. If we can't pay for it, we're gonna be in a bind. So I'm a little worried about that.
oh, and you were saying something about the loan with Community Loan Fund. Let's do it at the end of this month.
So the $20,000 that the revolving loan fund pardon me, guys, was approved for $35,000. We have borrowed 20,000 from that. My contact over there talked me into having the loan term be shorter rather than longer, and I wish I hadn't listened to him. So the term was to February 1st, which is today. So technically, we owe them the entire balance back of $20,000. So I'm going to call Community Loan Fund today and explain to them, the funding sources have been slower than we thought, particularly ARPA, and see what they have to say about it. I know when I talked about the term of the loan, what I was told was, this is to see how you guys can do, and it would be better if you can pay it back sooner than later. So let's set it up so you can pay it back sooner than later. And if you can't, we'll deal with it then. So that's where we're at. We need to deal with it now.
So have you paid interest payment for, when are the interest payments due?
They're due by the 1st of the month. Yesterday, I hand
Okay.
delivered, it was like $118 for interest.
For-
So,
For February?
well, it would have been for January.
For January, okay.
Yeah. So, so they received that. But I'll need to talk to them about extending the term.
When did the interest payments start?
That loan,
Is that October?
yeah, that sounds about right. I was going to say it's
Okay.
only been about 3 months or so.
Yeah, okay.
So that's everything
I don't
I've got
think
on the
they-
agenda.
From my past experience with them, I don't think they're not really hardline lenders. I mean, they're not,
What? I wouldn't think they were.
I think they'll work with you as far as, extending the loan.
Yeah. I've been frustrated with them because, the loan that we ended up having to get from Ameristar, Community Loan Fund approved us for a loan that would have had much better terms than Ameristar. But because of the lien that was placed on 791 River Street, they suspended that loan approval. They haven't extinguished it.
But
But-
I understand that though.
Yeah, I know. It's
because
if
their
we have,
funding sources aren't typical, so I can understand why they got skittish about that.
well, it's messed us up.
Oh,
So-
yeah, it's an inconvenience for us, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually should have reported that on that front. I have an application for a bond for 791 River Street that I just started filling in yesterday. So Kate's plan is to get the bond in place and then take the former general contractor to court to argue that the lien is meritless and should be, whatever the term is legally, should be extinguished.
Who's underwriting the bond?
Come on. We need to go away. CNA Surety.
Are they local?
I doubt. No, I don't believe they are. Where are they out of? The real estate brokers that I'm dealing with is local. They're from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. At least that's the address. Wherever they're physically located, I don't know. Do you know?
Are they charging us significant amount of fees?
My understanding is it would be 1%.
Oh, yeah.
So if you know of another bonding agency, you know, we don't have to go with this group. Do you know of anyone else out there?
Will a local bank do it for you? I know Pioneer used to do, because I used to underwrite and we used to do bonds for municipalities. I mean, was there a local bank that'll do it?
Would Pioneer give us a bond for a property they have a mortgage on?
Oh, probably not. You probably have to get another source, yeah.
Yeah.
But the bond will be used to pay off the mortgage, right? Yeah. okay.
Well, the bond would be in place to protect Pioneer's financial interests. So if the general contractor took us to court and we lost, the bond would pay for the loss, or a good portion of it.
Yeah.
But Kate's pretty adamant that she doesn't expect that we're going to lose in court. So Kate did a very good job lining up information. So if she had to go to court, she was very well armed. We've got 3 estimates, 2 from very reputable general contractors that the estimates show it would cost over $500,000 to make the building what it's supposed to be if it were built to plan. And that's, I think the original contract was like $417,000. So basically what's happened is to pull out the stuff that's not done right and then put it back, that obviously costs more than just doing it right in the first place. So that's why those estimates are so high. And there are some parts of the building that they just couldn't even put a number on because it was just like the building itself is not built to the right size. That's something you just can't fix. I guess you can, but it would be tear it down and it'd be crazy. So, so I don't know, Albert, it sounds like you're suggesting that I talk to some banks.
You might want to try. Like Bank of America and Key Bank, Bank of America didn't want to do anything for us with the last time, right?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think, yeah.
no, they didn't want to spend any time talking to me about anything.
Yeah.
Maybe Capcom or SEFQ.
Yeah, see what they would do, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, if you could do something with them, maybe they would be a good banking relationship to start. Just the merger. I mean, I don't know when the merger is going to take place, or be approved and all that, but
that's I have been meeting. It's on my to-do list with a lot of things. I've been meaning to talk to their capital campaign folks at both banks to see if there's any interest in providing land bank with donated buildings or cash to help their CRA account.
yeah, they both have a presence in this area, so
Yeah.
in Troy, so yeah.
So that's something I've been meaning to do. Something else on my radar, just to mention it. CDPHP is starting to open up kind of mom and pop pharmacies. You probably know they opened up one in a pharmacy in Waterville that just closed down. I want to approach them and see if they have any interest in 791 River Street opening a pharmacy there. I don't know if it'd be a wild goose chase, but that's a service that would be desperately needed in North Central. So
Oh,
I'm
that's a
gonna
good
knock on their
idea.
door.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but it can't hurt to ask, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I know they've done some work with I think they're doing some work with Trip.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, so
Well, they did the building that Tripp put up about 3 years ago on 10th Street, CDPHP provided financial assistance in a big way. I'm not sure if it was 100% or, but it wouldn't have happened without them.
I think, isn't it like a clinic too, I think, or something?
Could be,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
That might be,
So,
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
yeah, if we could get something like that in North Central, it would be terrific.
yeah.
So I just have to figure out who to contact. The Water Relief Pharmacy, I actually know the folks that used to run that, so I need to contact them to see, you know, who they talk to. But that'd be great if it could happen.
Yeah.
So that's everything on the agenda. You guys have any more you want to talk about?
Oh, I'm all set.
Not me, yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, John. So I'll see you guys
See you guys.
hopefully
See you
tomorrow
guys
at 8:30.
tomorrow, right?
In the morning, yep.
Yeah,
Albert, how's the leg?
It's good. I played Saturday, man. I went down to bicycle and I played for a little while. I
Oh,
played
nice.
I played Sunday too, so it's the first time I played 2 days in a row in quite a while. So
You feel all right?
yeah, I was supposed to come back on the 12th, but what's his name? McCullough?
Yeah.
He was hurt, but then he was gonna sit out, but then he changed his mind. So I don't know what's up now. I was supposed to start on the 12th, but they were talking to them Saturday, and I don't know what's going on now. I think it's from like week to week. Depends on if he gets injured during the game or something.
He's been hot, but he's also been trying to tough it out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah. So
All right. Look forward to seeing you out there again.
yeah, hope to see you soon. Yeah.
See you guys.
Okay, see you
all right.
tomorrow.
Take care, guys. Stay warm
Yep.
if you can.